Hey guys, welcome back to Bar Talk, an Albin Oldner Law podcast. My name is Maddison Clark, and with me I have Nicole Martin.
Hi, Maddie.
So, we're both family law attorneys here at Albin Oldner Law. You've been practicing for how many years now?
4.5, technically. I'll be licensed for 5 in October of this year.
Okay.
How about you?
About 2.5 years. So, about half.
Yeah.
About half.
Half of what I've been doing.
Yeah. So, and not only are we both experts when it comes to the law, but we also happen to be experts in Bravo TV, don't we?
Yeah. I'm obsessed with Bravo, mostly the Housewife franchise.
Oh, yeah. The Housewife franchise is great.
Yeah. Not so much Vanderpump Rules, but I hear you're an expert on Vanderpump.
Oh, my goodness. I don't even know where to start with Vanderpump Rules. There has been so much drama recently, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners have heard about it as well. So, do you know what's going on? Have you heard about it?
I've heard a little bit about it. I've been binge watching Vanderpump Rules the last 3 days, but I'm still on season 2. So what I do understand is there's something with a girl named Raquel or I think her real name is Rachel, right?
Yes, her real name is Rachel.
Okay. Why does she go by Raquel?
To sound cooler? I don't know. I guess she moved to LA and she had to keep up this LA facade, so she decided Raquel was cooler.
Okay, because season 2, she's not even in it yet. I have it where Ariana just started at Vanderpump as a bartender, and there's drama already about whether or not she has slept with a couple of the people there. So where are we on the Raquel drama?
Yeah, so I think it'd be helpful for our listeners if we kind of start at the beginning.
Okay.
So Vanderpump Rules. How this all started is it's following a group of employees who worked at a restaurant called SIR. Do you know what SIR stands for?
I don't know. I do know SIR. I've heard of it. I don't know what SIR stands for.
So it stands for Sexy Unique Restaurant.
Interesting. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that's a Vanderpump idea.
Yes, that was a Vanderpump idea. And Lisa Vanderpump reminds me, what season was she on for the Real Housewives?
She started in season 1. I don't remember when she left. I know there was a lot of drama between Kyle Richards, which kind of made her leave, and she's now solely on Vanderpump Rules.
Okay. So yeah, this show Vanderpump Rules, it's following the employees who work at SIR. It's been going on for I think we're on season 10 now. So it's been going on for about 12-ish years. You know, they had to take a couple of years of break because of COVID, like everybody did. So now I think that we're on season 10. So when it's all starting, it's centered around this core group of employees who all ended up being somewhat friends, lovers, enemies, everything in between. So I think where you're at right now, there's Stassi, Kristen, Katie, Sheena, Tom Schwartz, Jax, and Tom Sandoval.
Yes.
So how it starts out is actually a couple of them are dating each other. There's some drama. They break up. They get back together. Everybody's all over the place in the first couple of seasons, right?
Right. Yes. Very dramatic and definitely keeps you watching.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. It's crazy the drama these people get into.
So my understanding from what is happening now and how we tie it back to family law and legal expertise is Raquel cheated on or had an affair with one of the other cast members' boyfriend who she's been dating for like 10 years.
Yes.
And supposedly they were all really close friends, BFFs.
Yeah, so Tom Sandoval and Ariana Madix are two of the main characters in the show. And they've been dating for 8 years. 8 years, I think they've been talking, whatever, for about 10 years. They own a house together, a $3 million house together at that. They own a fantastic house together. They've written a book together. Their lives are completely intertwined. And one of their good friends was this girl, Raquel. We can call her Rachel, whatever you want. whatever she wants to go by. So Raquel and Ariana were good friends. Raquel even lived in Ariana's house with her and Tom for some time. And Ariana was the one who really tried to bring Raquel into the friend group. A lot of people just didn't really like her. She's the only college grad on the show.
Okay.
But she just doesn't fit in as much with these other people like the rest of them do. The rest of the cast has been friends for 8 years, have known each other forever, and Raquel just kind of came in and just didn't have as many friends. So Ariana really, really tried to befriend her. And during this whole time, it seems, what's come out over the past 2 weeks at least, that Tom Sandoval, Ariana Maddox's long-term boyfriend, has been having an affair with Raquel for the last 7 months.
Oh my gosh, I would lose my mind.
Absolutely. It is the nerve.
Yeah, seriously. So Raquel comes out. She has an affair with Tom Sandoval.
Mm-hmm.
There's a TRO, or temporary restraining order. We abbreviate it. We call it a TRO.
Yes.
How did the temporary restraining order come about?
Yeah, so how it all started is Ariana was at Tom, her boyfriend's show. He's in a band where he sings cover songs. He sings cover songs in a band. I think that he is almost 40 years old.
Is he having a midlife crisis?
Some think so. I think it's safe to say, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Seriously.
So he was performing, and Ariana found his phone. And something in her gut told her to look. You know how people have that gut intuition. They just know something's going on.
Normally your gut is right.
Always. Yes, always. And so Ariana looks at his phone. And on his phone, she finds inappropriate text messages between Raquel and her boyfriend, Tom. So she sees this. She immediately calls one of her best friends, Sheena, who's also on the show. And I think she's in the seasons you're watching right now.
Yes. Yes.
She calls Sheena, tells Sheena what's going on. Sheena is with Raquel. They're filming a Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. So after Ariana calls Sheena to tell her, allegedly a fist fight happens.
Between Sheena and Raquel.
At
Watch What Happens Live?
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately, it wasn't filmed. That would have been reality gold,
right.
But that part wasn't filmed. But apparently a fight happened. There's conflicting stories of if it happened or not, but that's kind of the basis for why Raquel is bringing a temporary restraining order against Sheena.
Okay, and for our listeners, temporary restraining order is essentially telling Sheena in this case, hey, you cannot come around Raquel. These are the things you cannot do in the meantime until there's a hearing.
Absolutely, yes.
And this temporary restraining order was taken out in California?
Yes.
Okay. And in Texas, we have something similar.
Yes.
In Texas, you can file a temporary restraining order. You have to have some severe circumstances, such as a fist fight,
yes,
to get that restraining order.
Absolutely, yes.
Do we know why she didn't try and get a protective order? Because there's a difference in Texas, right?
Yeah, absolutely. At this point in time, we're not sure why she didn't try to get a protective order. Although a protective order, at least in Texas, would have absolutely given her more protection. So in Texas, we know that there's a temporary restraining order that can be brought in these extreme circumstances. Temporary restraining orders only last for 14 days, though, correct?
Yes.
Unless obviously extended by the court or extended by agreement. So after a temporary restraining order, after the 14 days has passed, what has to be done next to kind of keep these orders in place?
You would have to go to court and have a full-blown hearing about why your temporary restraining order should be extended into what's called a temporary injunction. Temporary injunctions tell people, hey, you cannot do certain things, and they are enforceable by contempt. However, if it's an extreme circumstance like the one I'm hearing between Raquel and Sheena, you may want to consider a protective order, because a protective order is going to the police officers in that county to let them know there is a protective order in place. So in a situation between Sheena and Raquel, if Sheena were to show up at Raquel's house, Raquel could call the police and the police would come out and Sheena would be arrested at the spot for violating that protective order.
Mm-hmm.
if you have a temporary injunction, or in this situation, a temporary restraining order, you call the police. All it is a temporary restraining order. They are not going to arrest Sheena. They may tell her you need to leave, but in order to actually find her in contempt of court, you're going to have to go back to court and have a hearing on an enforcement of that temporary injunction. So depending on how severe the circumstances are, you may want to file a protective order instead of filing a restraining order. Now with the protective orders, there's different types of protective orders. So there's a criminal protective order that you can get if there's family violence, and the police decide to go and pursue a magistrate's protective order. Generally, those things happen if there's an argument between the spouses, a spouse hits this other spouse, and the police are called. And then generally speaking, the police will ask you, do you want a protective order? And if the answer is yes, they will file they won't, but the attorneys for this, whatever city you're in, or county you're in, will file the magistrate's protective order. So in this situation, I can understand why a restraining order was filed. There may be a difference between California. Maybe in California, a restraining order is more severe than a protective order. In Texas, the restraining order is not going to provide her as much protection as a protective order would have.
Absolutely. Okay. And so let's talk a little bit about protective orders that we could help with. So I know that the magistrate's order for emergency protection, those are typically taken out by a magistrate judge and happen whenever the police are called, the police get involved, the magistrate's judge gets involved. So I know that there's something we can do as well to help our clients with protective orders. So let's talk a little bit about what we can do. Protective orders in family cases, protective orders in the cases that we do. So when do you think is the best time for someone to request a protective order in a family law case?
Well, if there's ever any family violence, physical violence in particular, or even any threats made by your spouse or significant other, saying, I'm going to come and murder you, those are grounds to get an emergency protective order. And you never, ever want to take a risk. You never want to think, oh, he might just be fibbing, because sometimes they're not. You trust your gut. And if you really think he's going to come after you, then you come talk to us so we can get an emergency protective order in place. And you can do that on the civil side. Generally speaking, the way these things happen is something blows up between the spouses, either husband hits wife or wife hits husband, and the situation blows up and you need protection from your husband. So then you come talk to us, we start preparing all the documents that are needed, and we go in front of a judge and we say, this is why we need a protective order.
Okay. And so protective orders, generally they're for 2 years, but there are certain circumstances where they can be longer, more indefinite. So I know that some of those situations are for sexual assault protective orders.
Right.
And so with the sexual assault protective order, how do we go about telling our clients when the best time is to move for a sexual assault protective order as opposed to just a regular protective order?
So in general, just a general protective order, you have to have family violence, and there's a likelihood that family violence will continue in the future. Mm-hmm. So he has hit you before, and he has threatened to hit you and will likely hit you in the future. Things like that will give you a regular protective order. If it's a sexual assault protective order and you want it to go beyond the 2-year protective order statute, then you're going to have to prove that there has been a sexual assault and the likelihood of a sexual assault occurring in the future. In those situations, I would definitely recommend requesting something longer than the 2-year period. Absolutely. And getting a 4-year protective order.
Okay. And so me and you, we could help any of our clients with any of that, right?
Yes. You've done them plenty of times.
Yes.
I've done them plenty of times. Now, if the significant other and the spouse are living together, there's going to be a difference if you need him to get out of the house. Can
Yes.
you talk to everybody about what that difference is and what you need for essentially what we call a kick-out order?
Yes. So for a kick-out order, it's a little bit more difficult. It's a little bit trickier than just getting a traditional protective order. So in a kick-out order, one of the spouses is requesting that the other spouse essentially be kicked out of their home. Now, in order to get the other spouse kicked out of the home, you need to be able to prove that A, you do not have anywhere else that you can go. B, the other party or your spouse, whoever it might be, that they have somewhere else that they can go or that they have the financial means to do so. And lastly, this all needs to be done through testimony. There has to be testimony given that proves that you have nowhere to go and that they have somewhere they can go or they have the financial means to do so. And for anybody new listening who doesn't quite understand the testimony, so testimony is what is said in open court, is what is said to the judge, is what is put on the record. So that's what testimony is.
Right. And in a general protective order, when you're not asking for a kick-out order, you don't have to have that testimony. The judge can review it by submission and whatever affidavit is attached to that.
Absolutely, yes.
Well, we've gone through protective orders. We've gone through restraining orders. This is our podcast debut, essentially. So
absolutely.
Let's let the listeners know a little bit about us. We're going to kind of play a game. What are your 3 truths and your 1 lie?
Okay, so you have to figure this out. This is on you to figure out which one are the truths and which ones are the lies.
I think I know you well enough, so let's see.
Okay, so my sister and I have the same middle name. I have a dog with 2 different colored eyes. I played soccer in college, and I played basketball in high school.
Okay. I think 2 and 3 are definitely truths. 1 is the lie, and 4 is the truth.
You got it. You got it.
It's true. So athletic. I knew you definitely played basketball and soccer. All right. My 3 truths and a lie. I went skydiving in Seattle on my 18th birthday. 2, I've been to Kenya, Africa. 3, I have a tattoo. And 4, I have an identical twin sister.
Oh, these are difficult. I thought I knew everything about you. So I think that 4 is true.
Okay.
I think that you have a twin sister.
Okay.
I think that 2 is true.
True. 2 is true.
2 is true. I don't think you have a tattoo.
That is true. Tattoo is a lie. I think my dad would have my head if I had a tattoo. He says he would probably. Well, no, I'm not going to say he's threatened me because not grounds for a protective order. Jokingly, he has said he will have my head. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, perfect. Well, thank you guys for listening to Bar Talk with Albin Oldner Law. And please give us a call. Visit our website if you have any further questions on protective orders, on temporary restraining orders. We are more than happy to discuss in more depth. And trust me, we could talk about those for probably another hour. So we're welcoming questions if anybody has any.